Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome. A little different series than what I'm normally doing. And as the title suggests, it's going to be about airgunning. Well, I love to shoot. I love going to the range. I love sending lead down range. If it's shooting, I love it. Whether it's a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, archery. If it shoots, I like it. I've done skeet shooting, hunting. Not much into hunting anymore. Uh, Competitive shooting from cowboy, hence the name Beefalo Bart, and uh, action pistol shooting in different formats. Uh, I love long range shooting, precision shooting, anything that I can do that's shooting wise. I just enjoy it. I love building guns. I love putting them together. I love customizing them, taking something that's bone stock and making it freaking awesome, that kind of stuff. And that's great. But when you break down with my current situation and my current income level and everything else, I have no budget. And I can't really justify the expenses involved in regular shooting. Now, I have plenty of guns. I've got precision AR-15s. I've got tactical style AR-15s. I've got one that's actually a 300 blackout, and it's a short, compact size. I mean, now I could probably reach it from here. Absolutely love it. It's great. And I've got competition-based 9mm. It's a Springfield XDM 5 1/4 with compensator, the optics, the custom little tricks on it here and there. It's currently kind of in transition on finish-wise, so it looks a little on the ugly side to look at. I've got concealed carry weapons. I've got collectibles, antiques. My wintertime concealed carry is a full-size 5-inch 1911. I like guns, but average cost, and it doesn't take much to start looking at price-wise. And let's look at 9mm ammo. You do a quick search, and I'm going to bring up cheaper than dirt. And you look at prices of ammo, average around $9 per box. Okay, cool. You can break it down. Ammunition. So you figure $9. Shipping, it's going to average to about $10 a box. Or if you buy it local, you can buy in some shops. You can get, just cheap range ammo for like $10 a box. So we'll figure that as our price point. 5.56 NATO. If you're shooting AR-15, this is a common thing. So you'd see like Wolf ammo, which I really won't use. I won't use steel case ammo in any of my AR-15s. Personal preference. So let's scroll down past all of the steel ammo here, which is the cheap stuff. Then you start getting the $7 a box for 20 rounds. And if you want to go to the range, there's no point in carrying 100 rounds, or you want to carry enough ammo to make it worthwhile going to the range. And you're talking, and we're going to do this based off of 500 rounds. Shooting 500 rounds whenever you go to the range. Now, cost for 500 rounds, you do the math, and it's, Winchester white box is not bad stuff. It's not great, but it's not bad. So you're looking at $7.50 per box, and then you multiply that by the fact that it's 20 rounds to get the amount for that, and you're going to end up quite a bit. And then you want some 9mm and your 45 ACP and whatever calibers you've got, especially when you start looking at calibers like 300 blackout. Not super cheap to shoot either. You're $12, $13 a box. An average range trip might cost anywhere in the neighborhood of $200 to $300 for a good range trip. Okay, then you have to decide on the range. Do you go to an indoor range? Okay, go to an indoor range, and most often you have the range Nazi that will tell you, oh, you're shooting too fast, or there's so many rules, and they're there for your safety, don't get me wrong. However, I don't want to feel like that I got Big Brother watching over me, and most shooting ranges now, indoor shooting ranges, have video cameras that are pointing directly at you while you're shooting, and I just don't like that. I don't care for it. Okay, so if you go to an outdoor range, a free-to-use outdoor range, we'll say, not including if you're a member of a shooting club, which is going to cost what, $250 to $1,000 or more a year. So then you're looking at drive time, fuel cost, drinks, things of that nature, and still, all said and done, you're in $250, $300 just for a single range trip. That's not me. So I've decided to go towards air guns. Why air guns? Well, I have a decent sized backyard, and I can set up a trap to stop the projectiles and do it in a safe manner. And most often, air guns are relatively low noise, and there's no real ordinances against shooting an air gun inside the city limits. Even though I live in a subdivision, it's still classified as being in the city limits, and they would get really testy if I went out and started shooting, even if I had a suppressor on a .22 rifle. They'd get a little testy if I was doing that. But if you're shooting a BB gun, quote unquote, in the backyard, they're not gonna complain as much. Then you get the stereotypes now. Thinking about air guns, there's so many different types, and most people, whenever you say air guns, you think of something like the Daisy Red Ryder. Oh God! And growing up as a kid, had one. Great little fun rifles, and they're a great way to get started into it, but they're not accurate. And back in the day, everything was made out of metal and wood, so it was a decent product. Nowadays, the Daisy Red Ryder, the lever is made out of plastic, and yeah, I had a anniversary edition with the bronze medallion in stock, which was stolen from me. Who the hell steals a damn Daisy Red Ryder? But whatever. The plastic lever has a tendency to break, so kind of a pointless endeavor. The accuracy is terrible, and shooting BBs not a good idea in your backyard because of higher chance of ricochet. So that leads, instead of a BB type rifle, then when I want a rifle for accuracy, I don't want to use a pistol. Not saying that I can't be accurate with a pistol, but I just want a rifle. So BB is out of the question. So when you think of that, then what are your choices in an air gun? You've got underlever. Well, you got brake barrels, and you got CO2. You got brake barrel, underlever. You've got pumps. You've got single shot pneumatics, which would be like this. You've got your CO2 guns, your PCP guns. If you're not familiar with what PCP is, it's pre-charged pneumatic, PCP, where they use a air cylinder that needs to be filled, and you're either going to need to go somewhere and get it filled, or you're going to have to get a foot pump, which can cost anywhere from $130 to $250 or so. But you can also use a compressor. Well, if you use a compressor, then you need a specific one set up for air gunning for the higher pressures, and you're talking about 3,000 to 4,500 psi, and those are going to cost, for a cheap Chinese one in the US, it's going to cost you around 400 and some change. The other option is maybe if you know somebody in a dive shop that can fill it for you, or maybe even at a fire station. But don't rely on those for, a fire station for being your source. And if you go to a dive shop, they're going to charge you to fill that tank naturally. They're not going to do it for free. So you have that extra expense. So I want pellet, I want a rifle, and my power choice is going to be between underlever, brake barrel, and CO2. Now, CO2 uses small air gun CO2, and it uses, well, there's a buttload on the market. What's often referred to as a canister or powerlet, and it's these things, the little small canisters you pop in there. So what you run into is, there's plenty of pistols on the market. There's rifles. You got the tactical thing. SIG makes a hell of a nice one. A lot of companies are out there making some pretty nice air guns. But I'm not looking into the tactical thing. I want accuracy. So I started doing some searching. And what I came up with for an option, and I tell you, it doesn't take much whenever you start looking for air rifle. Doesn't take long to come up with FX. Yeah, I'm not going to use underlever because, well, I'm fat and lazy, and that's just same thing with a brake barrel. You're having to fight that spring as you're moving the lever, or you're breaking the barrel down. Breaking the barrel, well, there's some relatively good, accurate air rifles on the market where it breaks right here in the middle and it folds down. You put a pellet in, you close it back up. There's even one company that's doing multi-shot version of that, but still, it's a lot of effort between shots. So to continue with a little bit of laziness, the brake barrels to me are not going to be as accurate as an underlever. And an underlever has a lever that is, just like the name says, a lever underneath the bottom that you can actually pull down, as you can see in this picture here from Benjamin. Benjamin Airguns is a good product line. So if you look, you break down that right there and you close it back up, and you've also got a chamber area right here where you load your single pellet in, and that's also fine, but it requires you to change your side picture and a lot of stuff, and to me that's not what I want to do. So I've chosen CO2 as my power plant because of power, convenience, and shootability, and instead of PCP or any of the other formats of air guns. Now, it doesn't take a lot of rocket science whenever you start looking for air rifles or air guns. And you do a Google search, first ones that come up, Airgun Depot, good company, good products. Pyramid Air, good company, good products. Airguns of Arizona, damn good company. But we're going to go with Pyramid Air. Now, I've looked at Pyramid Air and all the other different airgun sites off and on for years, and I've shopped around a little bit trying to find, and I've got another, I have an order set up ready to place of what I'm actually going to be purchasing. So it can get a little daunting. You see all the little pretties and fancy stuff. Air Arms, good products. I see a lot of good reviews on Air Arms, but the S510 here, that's $1,500. So you start looking at pellet guns, pellet rifles, and I want to shoot 22 caliber. The reason why I chose 22 caliber is I do have a little bit of crosswind in my backyard, so the 22 is going to pass through the wind a little bit better because it's a little bit heavier and maintain its accuracy a little bit more. So that's one of the reasons why I chose 22. It is moving slower, so it's going to be easier to control on impact. So looking at 22, holy crap, that looks awesome. This was an idea, something like this. My budget right now is I wanted to stay definitely under 300, preferably under 200, if possible. And that's going to be a tough thing to do in order to get a decent product that is going to fit in that budget range. So as I'm looking through here, you see all these different fancy ones. Hatsan, see a lot of good reviews on them, but still $679. Air Arms, again, good product, expensive. Doesn't take long when you're looking through air guns and you search for air rifles. If you look at the PCP market, it doesn't take long for you come up with one name, and the rifle that I want is the FX Impact X. Wow, I searched for FX Impact X, and it didn't come up. So let's look for, let's just remove all. And we'll do, and I know that they carry that product line. So we'll go for air guns, rifles, pre-charged pneumatic. Now, the Benjamin line, the Marauder, not bad. Air Force Texan, honestly, outstanding, but more towards a hunting application because you can get some larger calibers. As I'm scrolling through now, for the money, the Umarex Gauntlet PCP. If you're going to go into the PCP realm, you want your very first PCP air rifle. It's $300. It's extremely accurate, and if you want to go that route and you can pull $300 as your budget, it's not including other stuff you're going to need, like the ability to fill your tanks and ammo and scope mounts and so forth. But that would be a great way to go. So look, calibers will go all the way up to 50 caliber. Air guns are not, when you think of air guns, you know, most people think about, you know, the BB guns you shoot in your backyard. These are not even close to the same thing. And really, I'm doing straight up searches on here for FX Impact. So, and they're not showing it. Interesting, they're Pyramid Air, FX Impact, X Silver 700 millimeter. So we'll go in here. This is Airgun Depot's website. It's another good page, and this is outstanding. With that barrel and 30 caliber or 25 caliber, accuracy is phenomenal. It's a semi bullpup. You've got your tank here, stock magazine here, and there's a couple companies making even larger magazines. You've got moderator on the end that's adjustable lengthwise for the amount of noise reduction. Sleeved barrels. You buy the 25 caliber and realize, crap, I want to shoot longer range, so buy the 30 caliber conversion kit. It comes with the inner barrel and the pusher that you need to convert to 30 caliber or 25 caliber or 177 or 22. It's available in all four calibers. Once you've got the actual rifle, you can switch between all four calibers relatively easily. In fact, there's a nut you can loosen up, I think it's right here, that allows you to loosen up the barrel, take it out, one Allen screw, lets you change the pusher, and then pop it back in, pop the new barrel in, tighten everything back down again, and within roughly a minute or so you can change calibers. Use AR-15 style grips, and I could go on all day long about how cool this is, but it doesn't really fit into my budget range right now. It's $2,049, and again, that's just for the rifle. It comes in a kick-ass hard case and all that stuff, but yeah, it just doesn't fit my budget right now, and I wish it did. 25 or 30 caliber. You could also get it and other options like black, things like that. Then it's great. I could talk for days about how cool this is. This is the additional 700 millimeter barrel, so it's a little bit longer. Really just stupid accurate, but again, doesn't fit into my budget. So again, my overall choice is I chose for an air gun CO2 power and 22 caliber. So we got pellet, and there's some cool shit you can go with. Automatics, fully automatics, semi-automatics, so forth. So you got this guy here. You can use an onboard PCP air tank, which is only 2,000 psi, or you can use CO2. So that might not be a bad way to go, but again, I'm trying to stay under $300 for sure, and closer to the $200 mark or below. And that's $425. Not a bad way to go, but out of my price range. Hammerelli, good stuff. So you look at this guy, the Chaser CO2. It's a pistol that's modified into a carbine with a moderator or silencer and a buttstock. And to me, I just don't like the looks of it, and it just is not going to fill the category. Sheridan, okay, Sheridan makes a decent product, and I consider this one as well. But I came across the Beeman QB78, and I kept coming back to that one because you got the fancy version, which essentially all you're paying for, the differences between this one and this one, or this one and this one right here, is the fact that you're getting a fancy stock and diopter sights, which I'm not going to be using. I'm going to be using a scope. A synthetic stocked version, but whenever I chose the synthetic stock, I'm like, oh, okay, oh wait, I want 22 caliber. It went from $94 to $110. Okay, not that bad of a deal. Not a fan of the way the stock looks, but part of what I want to do is I actually want to make my own custom stock later. So let's go back. So that left me with, and there's all kinds of different versions of it you can get, the Deluxe. So if you look, the Beeman QB78, it's Chinese made, it's CO2, it looks like a Chinese made stock. It's got a fiber optic front sight and adjustable rear sight, which I don't care about because I probably will end up taking those off for sure. And you see it's 120, but you change it to 22 and the price drops to $99.99. So that looks like a winner for me. And then I clicked on customer reviews, and there's an awful lot of 5-star reviews on this rifle because for the money, this is a really good product. It's pretty accurate from what I've seen in all the reviews. It uses CO2. It uses 2 CO2 canisters at one time, and that's so that it will actually have enough power to be able to put out, in the specifications, 550 feet per second. Okay, that's half the speed, or less than half the speed of a 22 long rifle. So okay, that's fine. I'm just going to be punching holes in pieces of paper, so again, that's fine also. 22 caliber, loudness is medium to high, but I've also seen it rated in other places as low to medium. So we'll have to see on the volume levels for that. Barrel length 21 inch, overall length 40 inch. Overall length I'm not worried about because I'm going to end up changing that. It's a rifled barrel, 11mm dovetail, which is important to know for mounting a scope. It is a bolt action single shot, and being that it is single shot, you cycle the bolt open, you place a single pellet in, close the bolt, and you're ready to fire. The trigger itself is a single stage. I don't like single stage triggers. I like a 2-stage trigger. What that means, a single stage is you pull the trigger, and as you're pulling it back, it just fires. It has, from what I've seen and read, it has a nice clean crisp break to it, but as you're taking up the trigger, it just breaks and fires. Whereas a 2-stage trigger, as you're pulling the trigger, you have take up and you get to a ledge. You can feel it stop, and there at that ledge, if you pull it any farther at that ledge, it will then fire. And to me, that's what I like, is being able to take it up to that ledge. I can hold on that ledge and then just massage it lightly and get it to fire. So that's my preference, but there are ways of converting this trigger, from what I've seen, into a 2-stage trigger. So we'll cross that bridge and get to it. So that's that. That's the rifle. This is what I'm going to use, and the reason again why I chose the Beeman QB78 Deluxe CO2 air rifle is A, it's in 22 caliber, B, it's in my price range, C, it's CO2, so therefore it gives me the power to shoot, and if I've got it on sandbags or bipod or what have you, then I can maintain the rifle's position while I cycle the action and be able to fire a shot without a whole lot of adjustment. So you can see I have 5 items in my cart right now. So the next thing that I need to look at is I'm going to need CO2s, I'm going to need a scope mount. I already have a scope, and I'll explain the scope in another video. I'll quickly touch on it now. It's actually, the thing about optics is you want to choose what fits your budget, but you want to get the best bang for your buck for your scope. Could talk all day long on scope selection, but if you have a small budget, then get what you can afford. Okay, there is going to be enough difference in higher end scopes that you will notice it as you go to better and better optics. However, if you only have $50, if your budget is $200 total, and that leaves you only roughly $50 for your scope, once you see everything that's in my, kind of sneaking it over here, everything that's in these 5 items in my cart right now totals up to $150. So that would have left me for a $200 max of a $50 budget for a scope. And I can look on Amazon and help pick out what would actually be something good, or even on this website here, but to find a $50 scope that would fit that to keep you at the $200 price point. And again, that's my range that I can, maximum range I can choose. Now, the scope that I have is a decent quality scope. It is a Leupold, and this particular model that I have, the retail on it was somewhere around $350. I didn't actually have to pay for it whenever I was working for one of the local gun shops. I was one of the top salesmen for Leupold, so my name was put into a hat, and I won it in the raffle. So it didn't cost me anything other than just my performance of selling the product line. So I ended up with about a $350 scope free of charge, and it's Leupold. It's good optics. So yeah, this $99 airgun is going to get a $350 scope. You know, that's just what I have. It didn't cost me anything. It's a good scope, and why not? Why not use what you got? And if what you've got is pretty damn good, I'm going to roll with it. So we'll look at scope options here shortly. So the next thing, again, we said we need is a scope mount. We need the pellets, and one other suggestion is the cleaning pellets, and you need some CO2s. So usually, like, you scroll down right here and you have some optional things that recommended accessories. So the first one I see right here is Crosman CO2 cartridges, 40 pack for $20. No brainer. It's a good price. For all of my other air rifles and air pistols that I've ever used and owned, I've always used the Crosman. They work. They get the job done. Can there be much of a difference between the quality of CO2s? Maybe, but I know these work, so that's what I stuck with. So for $20, I get 40 of those. That's going to allow me, because it takes 2 canisters to put in there. So, hey, you know, if it's 40, that means I can charge my air 20 times. So, not bad. Pellets. One of the things that I noticed was people were saying that the Crosman Premier pellets worked really well. Now, if you know anything about air guns, you're always going to hear people say JSB, or the JSB pellets. Well, they're good. They're really good. But for this case, I'm going to start off with the Crosman Premier. I didn't go with the pointed. What I ended up going with is the standard Premier field grade pellets. I should get the correct number here. They're actually the domed Crosman Premier 22 caliber 14.3 domed. So what I'll do is I'll actually go to pellets here, and the really quickly, I'll come back to that. The option for scope mounting that I went with was the Leapers, or UTG AccuShot one-piece base. These are pretty common, so we'll just go ahead and open that in a new tab so we can go back quickly. It is a one-piece base. Now, this as a starting mount, I chose high just to be on the safe side because of the objective lens on my scope. But it is a one-piece base, quote-unquote, even though there's a piece here and there's a piece here and a piece there. But nonetheless, this is a one-piece base, and it should accommodate the scope that I'm using. If it does not, then might have to go to a two-piece or dual ring system, and instead of spending money first off, right off the bat, I would probably take out a freaking hacksaw and cut that bitch in half and go with that. Because the key important thing is 11mm dovetail, and if it's a 1-inch ring, which is, I have a 1-inch tube on my scope, and it's high, so it will work for what I'm using. So that should take care of me for what I need. So back to the pellets. The Crossbend Premiers, and I did not go with the pointed, I went with the domed. So let me actually go to that. 22 caliber Crossbend brand. It's easy to get carried away by all the stuff that's out there, but again, we wanted to do this on a 500 count, and it's $9.95 for a 510 of pellets. The quality of these, from what I understand, is pretty good overall, and for the first run through, I think this will be good enough. And the next batch of pellets, we'll probably get some JSBs, or I'll probably get another brand and try a couple different brands here and there to see what actually works best overall. But to start off with, I'm going to go with the Crossbend Premier 22 caliber 14.3 grain domed with a 500 count. To me, that's a good starting point, so that's what I'm going to go with. So, if I go back to airgun pellets, as you scroll through, as you're looking through pellets, there's so many different varieties. You got these pointed polymags, and you've got domes, and you've got all these fancy things. It's easy to get wrapped up. JSB monsters, 25.39 grain, 25 grain versus 14 grain. That's a pretty heavy 22 caliber. That's more of a slug than it is a pellet. So it's really easy to get carried away. Find a pellet that your rifle likes and stick with it. But the other thing that you want to look at is cleaning pellets. Pyramid Air has got a pretty good search system in here. So the Air Venturi quick cleaning pellets, it's $5.95 for a pack of 80. That's good enough. Now, the one thing I'm going to recommend is whenever you do decide on which air gun you're going to go with, get this. Get a cleaning kit if you don't already have a cleaning kit, but get the cleaning pellets, and the first thing you're going to want to do is probably put about 5 or 10 of those down range, because whenever you get a brand new rifle, it's going to be packed with oil on the inside of the barrel. You want to get that oil out first, so you shoot these through it, and they will swab out the barrel as you're shooting. So a definite must for what you need to have. So we've got the rifle, we've got the scope mount, we've got the CO2s, we got the pellets, and we got the cleaning pellets. So everything there has come to a whole whopping $150.81. So that's what I'm going to be ordering, and this is my shopping cart. I am actually going to place my order right after I close this video. So you can see today's date in the bottom right hand corner if you can't see it. Today is September 20th 2018, and I will be placing my order. It is a Friday or Thursday. I will be placing my order today, and then I am placing my order with Pyramid Air, and that's Pyramyd for the spelling. Pyramid Air. I'm going to place it with them, and we're going to see how this order goes. We're going to see how long it takes from the point of which I order it on the 20th, which is today, and how long it takes to come in, the quality of packing and so forth. And I'll do an unboxing video and that kind of stuff whenever it gets in. But what I'm actually ordering is the Beeman QB78 Deluxe CO2 air rifle, the Leapers AccuShot 1-inch high rings for 11mm dovetail, a 40 pack of CO2s, the 80 pack of Air Venturi quick cleaning pellets, and a 500 count 10 of the Crossbend Premier pellets. So that's my order. I'm going to go ahead and place that, and that's what I'm going to do. If you're trying to do the same thing and you're trying to keep your budget at $200, and that becomes $150. Now, why did I choose Pyramid Air? Is because whenever I picked out the things that I wanted to pick out, I qualified for free shipping. So that was a nice thing. And the same order that I had placed on another competitor's website, they still wanted me to spend another $28 before I could get free shipping. I didn't want to spend $28 more. I didn't need to spend $28 more. I got everything that I needed. So I'm going to actually look to see what they have for scopes and kind of help a little bit with how to select a scope and see if we can find anything on their website which would fit that that price point. The scope that I'm going to be using again is a Leupold 3 to 9 by 44 scope. Now you think, oh, air gun, it must be like a cheap BB gun scope, and this is that image right there. That is what comes to mind for most air gun scopes, is little cheap, tiny things like that, and that's not the case anymore. Those nobody uses. This big gigantic wheel, you'll see a lot of the higher end scopes, brands like Hawk, really good brand. There's a lot of really good scope companies that are out there, but for a starter project, you're trying to keep in a certain specific price point. UTG Hunter, it's a 4x. The 4x32, what those numbers mean when you're looking at the scope's information, that first number or set of numbers is 4. That's the level of magnification. That's how much it's going to zoom in. 32 is going to be the objective, the end lens here. So that's going to be 32 millimeters in diameter of the lens actually inside. But so something like this right here, 3 to 12 by 44, means it's a 3 by to 12 by adjustable magnification with a 44 millimeter objective lens. So this size is 44 millimeters, and it can go between 3 by and 12 by, and that doesn't fit our budget. You got pistol scopes. Pistol scopes are going to have the long eye relief. Most scopes you think, well, you got to have your eye right next to the scope. Well, not necessarily. A pistol scope, you can have it almost 2 feet away and still see just like you're putting it your eye 2 inches from a regular scope. I would say at start, if you have to choose a scope based on price point to get into that $50 price point to make up the difference of $200 total, you're going to be short on options from most websites. So I would say go to Amazon and search for rifle scope or what have you, and you're going to see a lot of options. Now for this particular rifle that I'm using right here, I don't need anything huge, but to start off with, I would say a 3 to 9 by a 40 to 44 millimeter objective is good. There's a lot of options you're going to find on Amazon. CV Life, I would never use that brand. It's 6 to 24 by 50. It might be a little bit much for a 10 meter rifle that's for backyard shooting. Simmons, not a bad brand. I've used quite a few Simmons products over the years, and BSA products. Those are my go-to for inexpensive, decent quality scopes. Simmons 8-point, that's a 50 millimeter. Might be up your alley. It's $40. I like a lot of UTG's products, but I'm not a fan of these little mini scopes. You may like them. I'm not going to knock them because I've never used them. So I would say a 3 to 9 by 40 should be roughly about what we're looking for. A lot of options. ATN, when you start getting high tech and you want night vision or thermals, yeah, go with ATN. Damn the price, get the product, get what works, right? Vortex, another good line. Nikon, really good. Just as an example, I'm going to go ahead and just isolate that Simmons 8.3 to 9 by 50. Even though I would say it might be a little bit big on the objective lens. So if you can find a 3 to 9 by 40, so we'll just do 3-9x40 scope. And usually in Amazon you can try to get it to where it's sorting. Featured, we want price low to high. I don't know if I'd want to try anything that was $19. There's actually been some people doing reviews of these $20 scopes. Whatever. Scope qualities, scopes do matter, but when you're on a budget and you're trying to get started, then get what you can afford. And as you can afford better, get better. So this one's $35. Barska, okay brand. It's got 4.5 stars, 108 reviews, 3 to 9x40, and it's $35. So I would say, yeah, why not? For your first scope, you look at the crosshair, okay, whatever. That's respectable. So that would be a decent choice. So your $150 order from Pyramid Air and $35, $36 were free shipping. So there you go. There's your scope, and you got the rest of the stuff there on Pyramid Air. So you're under your $200 price point, and you're ready to shoot. So I am going to bring up my order. I'm going to complete this video. So again, we can see that I'm using Pyramid Air Gun Mall. I am using my debit card to make this purchase. What I'm getting is, again, the Beeman QB78 Deluxe in .22 caliber. I am getting the Leapers AccuShot 1-inch high rings for 11mm dovetail, 40 CO2 cartridges, a pack of cleaning pellets, and a pack of Craftsman Premier pellets. So that's going to get me going. I'm going to go ahead and continue to check out. I am going to place this order, and okay, check out as a guest. And I'm going to go ahead and fill out my information and get all that put in, and I am going to go ahead and place this order and get it on the way, and I will update on the next video whenever it actually comes in, and we'll see how long it took for it to show up. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to go ahead and throw them my hard-earned money, and let's get started in air gunning. And if you haven't taken a look at it and thought about it before, and you want to get into shooting, check with your local laws and so forth. Some countries won't even let you own an air gun. So just check with your local laws and so forth and see if you can. And if you can, you want to follow along with this. Again, I've stuck with a $200 budget, but if your budget allows you to go much higher, feel free to join my Discord channel. Most of what I do on my Discord channel is game development stuff, but check on my Discord and ask me questions of how do I pick this and what would, fit what you're doing. Let me know what your budget range is, what type of shooting you're going to try to do, and what you want to do, and what your monthly allowance is for shooting. That kind of stuff. I'll ask you a bunch of different questions. Nothing really personal, but just kind of find out what would suit you best, and I can help you kind of fit your budget to actually get you out there shooting. And this is for backyard planking. This is not for any kind of hunting or long-range precision. I'm going to set up a small 10-meter range in my backyard, and that's what I'm going to be shooting. I might go a little bit farther if I can, but I'll measure it out and I'll set up a 10-meter range. I will build my own pellet trap and hopes of actually recycling the pellets and either melting them or swaging them, that kind of stuff, into making my own pellets eventually. I want to do some custom work on the rifle, and I want to upgrade this little starter rifle to the max that it can get upgraded to for shooting in a backyard. I'm not worried about power, I'm just worried about accuracy and comfort of shooting. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.